Hi everybody. Here with the 7-week update since the big F up on the hand. This 7-week point, just a recap, table saw accident, finger snap back, one finger, middle finger, important one, rebuilt basically the tendons, blood vessel, muscles reattached, lost half the index finger. That really sucks right there, but could have been much worse. Keep reminding myself that on a regular basis. Anyway, things I'm finding out at this point is the big catch-22 on a tendon repair is, or well, not just now finding out, thanks to the help of Rex Tangle 8 on YouTube. Bob, if you pull up some of his videos, you'll see where he's gone through and talked about his accident and therapy and everything that, he just the play-by-play of everything. I don't know how he, did that, because he was, meticulous, and keeping, to detail of everything, and he was, he was a heaven sent to me as far as getting me prepared for everything that I was going through and all that, and giving me from firsthand, example. And my therapist were too, Heidi and Randy, I definitely couldn't, I could not have even remotely dealt with this without them. They're, people that do therapy, Randy and Heidi in particular, two fantastic people, and they're a special breed of people that, that can tolerate dealing with, well, for me, for example, but biggest baby in the world when it comes to anything medical related. Anyway, but this 7th week, where it's getting on the catch-22 is that while the tendon's healing, you're building up scar tissue, but you can't really be using your fingers, or whatever has been damaged until after the tendon heals, because if you start trying to use it, you'll pop the tendon and you'll be screwed. Well, the catch-22 part is that scar tissue is, there's big, they're both, healing at the same time. And since you can't be, doing, the exercise that it would take to keep the scar tissue down, you're really looking at a game of catch-up. On down the road, it's really hard to keep that work down. I have tried really hard to stay on top of everything that Heidi and Randy's been telling me and everything, but still, that's just a part of it. What's called adhesions, where it tries grabbing the tendon and doesn't let everything move, properly. I've read just enough to be dangerous, just about like I am with everything else that I do. But anyway, let me see. There was into this 7-week part was where I was able to actually now where I can like try to close my hand, but not try to do any like gripping motions, and already getting like about halfway there. That may not look like much, but folks, I'm telling you, you don't really want to ever be in a position where you see that. It's looking damn good to you, okay? But that is definitely the way that it is right now. To me, I'm doing all sorts of, Heidi's got me on a long list of things that I do specific, that's always specific to individuals, and when you see where you're at. So therapist is highly necessary. Where this video is going to go, you don't want to forget those words right there. Basically, I made something, as I always have a tendency to do with anything that I mess with. We'll get on to that here in a second. But anyway, what I was reading, I was having to do these massages and like stretching the adhesions and the scar tissue and everything, basically trying to break down the scar tissue. Well, what I've been doing, I decided I wanted to cheat and not be using my other hand and stuff, so I got a caster, a regular, like a caster, like on a, just a roll, wheel thing on a little mount, a fixed one, so it doesn't swivel. Anyway, and just running my finger across there and using my other finger and kind of pushing down to get some pressure and just kind of sitting around. And then I got to thinking about, if this thing vibrated, it'd probably feel pretty good, kind of add to it. So I took a little palm sander, electric palm sander, and epoxied the wheel, well, the caster on top of that, and then pulled out the main axle through there and replaced it with a bolt so I could adjust the tension on how loose the wheel spun. Kept lotion on my hand and made a little base for it and everything, cranking on, like running it back over and all that. Ran that idea past Randy and Heidi, and they thought the vibration, because they use like a little hand vibrator and everything for for patients there, and then I decided that since this one was so gung ho of a deal, as far as a lot over what you see with anything else. I was wondering, whether or not there may be such thing as too much vibration, and I'm sure that there is. But I did a Google search on adhesion. So what was it? Adhesion scar tissue therapy, vibration, and or vibrators or whatever. Anyway, and came up with an article. Well, not an article. It's actually a book, Hand Therapy by Maureen Salter, Lynn Shales. Cheshire, written in 2000, and it gets to this part, page 93 in case you want to look it up. Vibration is of value in helping to soften and break down scar tissue using small handheld battery operated massager available commercially. Careful vibration can be used over scars in about 5 weeks post tendon repair. It may also be applied through sanding machines in the workshop when passive stretching of flexor tendons is allowed. Many air compressed sanders have a flat on-off lever. That's a jitterbug sander is what they're referring to. The sander creates vibrations through the extended fingers as the patient works. Additionally, the therapist can passively stretch the patient's fingers into extension and encourage combined wrist extension. The vibration can produce dramatic improvement in scar tissue by breaking down adhesions around the flexor tendons and thereby improving tendon pull-through. The patient can safely work on an air sander for about an hour a day. I just got theory on how they came up with this. Somebody like me couldn't stop working while their hand got better, and they just happened to have a job where they used a sander, and the therapist noticed that the guy's hand was, or gal possibly, hand was probably getting better quicker, and then at some point I guess maybe they followed a few people. But being air compressed as opposed to electric really doesn't matter. They just found this situation out in the shop. Environment is my theory on that. So anyway, along with my theory, I was like, like the paraffin bath, for like getting it warm, and anytime that you're reading about like working the scar and stuff like that, you read about like the heat and everything. So I got really tired mainly of that little sander thing because I was having to really concentrate on staying over the caster and working it and all that. So I came up with another little idea, and this is probably going to be a 2-part video. It's going to be my guess because I just ran my head for so long. But we'll get you on that too.